It's just one of the most frustrating things, right? Out on the golf course. You hit the ball, feels like a decent swing, maybe even good. But it just flies low, barely gets any air, dies after, I don't know, 100 yards or something. And you're just standing there kind of scratching your head thinking, what? What just happened there? You feel like a solid golfer, but the shot's just weak, ineffective. Well, what if you could actually figure out exactly why? Like you see the hidden problems with real data, not just, guesswork. That's the kind of power new tech is bringing to sports now.
It absolutely is, yeah. And that's really what we're diving into today, how these cutting-edge diagnostic tools are just completely changing performance analysis for athletes, for coaches. We're talking about moving way beyond just, watching someone swing and trying to eyeball it. Instead, getting precise, data-driven insights that can unlock some really incredible improvements. And today, yeah, we've got this fascinating case study, a really talented golfer, actually a +2 handicap.
Wow, +2. So really good.
Exactly. But despite that skill, he was somehow hitting the ball too low, losing distance, and couldn't figure out why.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive then is
Yeah.
to sort of unpack how these advanced trackers and this really interesting concept called gain factors, how they were used to first diagnose, then understand, and ultimately dramatically improve this guy's swing. Think of this as maybe your shortcut to understanding this pretty revolutionary way of looking at complex performance. So let's start with the golfer's puzzle itself. You said +2 handicap,
Yeah, seriously good.
but consistently low shots, not getting the distance you'd expect, and he was just stumped.
Yeah, completely. And this is, a classic situation where maybe traditional coaching gives you some ideas, some feelings, but to really solve it, the coach knew they needed to dig deeper, look under the hood, so to speak. So they turned to a 3D motion analysis system called SportsBox. And this thing lets you capture quantitative data. You move past just what your eyes can see to the actual mechanics, the numbers behind those low, short shots.
Right, the why. Okay, so let's break down this core idea you mentioned. Gain factors. Now, most golfers, or even sports fans, have probably heard of smash factor in golf.
Yeah.
That number, the ideal is 1.5. It tells you how efficiently you transferred energy from the club head to the ball. Ball speed divided by club head speed. Simple enough.
Precisely. And gain factors are, well, they're kind of similar in concept. But instead of looking at club-to-ball efficiency, they measure the efficiency of speed transfer between different parts of your body during the swing. Think of it like a relay race. How well is that baton of speed being passed from one runner or body segment to the next? This is all part of what we call the kinematic sequence. It's that orderly chain of movements your body uses to build up power. And for a mid-iron swing, we typically look at 3 key gain factors. Each one has a specific target number for, peak efficiency.
Okay, what are they?
So first, you've got the core gain factor. That measures how well your pelvis rotational speed gets transferred up to your chest rotational speed.
Right.
The target there, about 1.5.
Okay, pelvis to chest, 1.5. Got it.
Then there's the shoulder gain factor. This looks at your chest rotation speed transferring to your lead upper arm speed. Ideally, that should be around 1.4.
Chest to lead arm, 1.4, okay?
And finally, the wrist gain factor. That's the ratio of your lead upper arm speed to your club shaft speed. And here, you're aiming for roughly 2.4.
Wow, okay, so just like that 1.5 for smash factor gives you a clear benchmark. These gain factor targets, 1.5, 1.4, 2.4, they give you objective, measurable goals for how efficiently your body should be transferring speed through the chain. It really takes the guesswork out, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and this is exactly where the mystery of our +2 golfer started to unravel. The critical finding, the big red flag in his data, was his shoulder gain factor. Remember, the target's 1.4.
Yeah, chest to lead arm.
Right. His was significantly lower. He was only at 1.26.
Oof, 1.26 instead of 1.4. That's
Yeah.
a noticeable drop. So what does that low number immediately tell a coach?
It immediately signals that there's an inefficiency right there. He wasn't generating or, more likely, transferring speed effectively into his lead upper arm. That kinematic sequence, that power chain, was breaking down at that specific link. Just to give you some context on how that's calculated, shoulder gain factor is lead upper arm speed divided by the chest turn speed max. Now, for a PGA Tour pro hitting, say, a 7-iron, you typically see their chest turning maybe around 693 degrees per second, and their lead upper arm whipping through at about 945 degrees per second.
Okay.
Our golfer, his lead upper arm speed was only 788 degrees per second.
Well, wait, 788 compared to 945? That's a big difference. Like, what is that, almost 20% slower?
Exactly, a really significant gap. And that 1.26 gain factor just clearly highlighted this inefficiency. The numbers don't lie.
Okay, so the low shoulder gain factor really pinpoints where the leak was happening in the kinetic chain. But the real deep dive, right, the more interesting part for fixing it, is understanding why. What was actually causing that inefficiency? What was gumming up the works?
Precisely, you nailed it. So the coach then dug into some additional metrics from the SportsBox system to find that root cause. First, they looked at his mid-hand sway. This measures how much your hands move horizontally, like towards or away from the target, relative to your body's center. Our golfer's mid-hand sway was -12 inches.
-12. Is that good or bad? What's typical?
Well, for context, the PGA Tour range is usually somewhere between -10.9 and -6.3 inches. So -12 means his hands were getting significantly too far behind his body during the swing. Too deep.
Okay. Too far behind. Got it. What else?
Then they looked closely at his lead wrist angle. That's the angle between your lead forearm and the club shaft. In transition, that crucial moment between backswing and downswing, his angle actually went up from 98 degrees to 102.7 degrees.
Up. Shouldn't it go down or at least stay the same to keep lag?
Exactly. That increase indicates an early release. He was casting the club, essentially, losing that crucial angle on the way down instead of maintaining it or even adding to it. And finally, they just did a visual check of his mid-hand path in the 3D model. SportsBox shows this path with yellow and orange lines representing where the hands travel. His lines were too close together, which just visually confirmed what the sway number suggested. His hands were getting stuck too far behind him.
Okay, wow. So putting all those pieces together, you've got the low shoulder gain factor as the symptom, then the diagnostics, too much mid-hand sway, hands too far behind, the lead wrist angle increasing early release, and the visual confirmation. The picture becomes really clear, doesn't it? He was releasing the club too early, likely because his hands were getting stuck behind him, or maybe it's a cycle. And that whole pattern was preventing him from getting speed into his lead arm properly. It's all connected.
It's a complete chain reaction. And, the true beauty of this kind of data-driven analysis is how it points towards incredibly precise, actionable fixes. The coach didn't need to guess. They gave the golfer one single, remarkably simple adjustment, a feeling. It was basically, feel like you're adding angle in transition, just focus on that feeling. It was designed to directly address both that early release and help get his hand path more out in front.
One simple feeling. What?
Yeah.
Did it work right away? This is where it gets fascinating.
Oh, it was almost immediate. And the improvements were measurable right there on the screen. Dramatic, really. On his very first swing, just focusing on that feeling, boom, clubhead speed jumped up by 3 miles per hour.
3 miles an hour. Just like that.
Just like that. His mid-hand speed improved, too. And crucially, that shoulder gain factor, the initial red flag, remember?
Yeah, the 1.26.
It climbed straight away from 1.26 up to 1.31. Still not perfect, but a significant jump in efficiency from one swing change. His mid-hand sway also improved, came into a much better range at -10.8 inches. And his lead wrist angle now is changing differently, showing a much better sequencing pattern. Visually, you could instantly see more space between those mid-hand path lines. Things were freeing up.
That's incredible. Just from one swing, one feeling.
But wait, it gets better. The true sort of click moment, the one where everything really fell into place, came on the very next swing after that. His club head speed soared, an impressive 90.9 miles per hour with his 7-iron.
90.9. Wow.
And check this out. His wrist gain factor, remember that's the last link, arm speed to shaft speed, target 2.4. It didn't just improve. It actually exceeded the target, hit 2.51. That final whip, that energy transfer to the club, was now incredibly efficient. His mid-hand sway improved even more, down to 9x9.3 inches, nicely within that tour range. And his lead wrist angle at the top was now 89 degrees, and crucially, he was adding angle on the way down, getting to 84.4 degrees near impact, maintaining that lag.
Unbelievable. So the numbers just instantly confirmed the change worked.
Instantly. These precise metrics, they allowed both the coach and, importantly, the player himself to see clear, quantifiable progress in real time. It immediately validated that the adjustment was working, hitting the right spot. That kind of feedback, it's just a game changer for learning and improvement.
So when we boil it all down, what's the big takeaway here for everyone listening? This deep dive really shows the incredible power you get when you combine that expert observation with precise, objective data from systems like SportsBox.
Yeah.
It lets you understand not just what's happening in a really complex movement like a golf swing, but why it's happening. Right down to these gain factors, these crucial efficiency points between each body segment. It feels like a shortcut, a shortcut to figuring out where things are going wrong and getting those immediate actionable insights.
It truly is, yeah. I mean, these kinds of immediate, measurable feedback loops, they're just such a huge advantage for coaches, for the students themselves. They lead to much faster improvement because you can see that cause and effect relationship so clearly laid out in the numbers. And it's helping the entire industry, really, coaches and players, better understand and actually utilize this powerful data to unlock more of that human potential.
It's fascinating stuff. So this deep dive showed how understanding that efficiency between the segments of a swing really revolutionized this golfer's performance. Now, just to leave you, the listener, with something to think about, what complex skill or maybe even a process in your own life, could be work, could be another hobby, anything, what could benefit from identifying its own gain factors? Those critical points of transfer, those efficiency links that maybe you're not even measuring or perhaps haven't even thought about yet. Something to chew on.